When I did my review of Risk, it reminded me of the Switch version of Monopoly. That was a review I made years ago before I only made video reviews. For a long time, it only existed as a text review on reviewstogo.com, then was made a video review for my Patreon, and now here is my review of Monopoly for the Nintendo Switch. When it comes to gameplay, Monopoly is a turn-based board game where you navigate around a big playing field, purchase properties, and get money when opponents land on your property. First off, Monopoly on the Switch is a bit more limited and restricted than it is on PS4 and Xbox One. When you go to play the game, you have 5 different boards you can choose from. 3 of which being living boards that have a bunch of 3D models, animations, and crazy visual stuff going on as you play. While the other 2 are the classic flat boards, the original and the Rabbids board that's available on the other consoles. Now when you create a game, you can set your own custom rule sets or use the classic ones and put in up to 6 different players across you, other humans, and AI. If you don't have anybody local to play with, there's also the online option to play with other people from around the world. Diving into the actual game mechanics, unlike the chaotic Monopoly madness that just released, this is the very classic old board game rules where each player rolls dice on their turn, move around the board, using their money to purchase properties they land on or pay up rent when you land on something that is already owned. As it always has been, it's big on managing your finances and property trading until only one player hasn't gone bankrupt. There is one unique thing about the Switch version, and that is motion controls. You can actually shake the Joy-Cons to roll your dice on your turn. Moving more into content, I criticized the Switch version of Risk because it had very little in terms of unlockables, and most of the ones it had couldn't even be used in the game. Monopoly is in a bit of a similar boat where you have to do challenges to unlock the extra stuff, but all of the unlockables in Monopoly are customized tokens that you can use in the game. The objectives are also far easier to manage. And considering that different tokens have always been a really big part of Monopoly in the real world, this isn't bad at all. But even so, we need to talk about content and length specifically versus the game's price. It's been criticized on the Switch since day one for being $40, especially when you pop over to the PlayStation Store and see the Family Fun Pack for half the price with more content. And that's not just the extra content packs like the My Little Pony board, but also the board creator that the Switch version also doesn't have. All the time that's passed has created a better situation, as the retail price has gone down to $19.99 to match what the Family Fun Pack is, even though it's still missing content. Next, let's dive into controls for just a moment. There's a bit of input lag in this game, and it doesn't really matter if you're using a controller or a touchscreen. Pretty much everything has a second or two of delay between you hitting a button or the screen and it actually doing it. Granted, this is a turn-based board game, so it's not a huge issue, but it's still there. Now let's dive into presentation, which is very good. Visually, the living boards look absolutely beautiful with all of the details in depth. Now, the performance does suffer a little bit of slowdown here and there because of how in-depth the visuals are, but overall, it's pretty good. There's also the matter of the infinite loading screen glitch. When this game first launched, it could get stuck at any loading screen forever and you would have to close and restart the game. Thankfully, after the game had been out for about a week or two, they immediately patched it and fixed it. Next up is battery life. Monopoly gives the original model a battery range of 2 hours and 36 up to 3 hours and 28. It gives the Nintendo Switch Lite a range of 3 hours and 18 up to 4 hours and 18. And it gives the V2 Redbox 2019 model a range of 5 hours and 11 up to 8 hours and 20. Now in conclusion, this is definitely the best handheld version of Monopoly with gorgeous visuals and a lot of different ways to play. Unfortunately, the overall lack of content compared to the other platforms and the weird input lag make this something you might want to wait on a sale for. Reviews to Go rates Monopoly for the Nintendo Switch an 8 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching and have a great day.